This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. You ever wondered what it would be like to live stream the downfall of the Roman Empire? This is kind of what we're doing right now. Warlord, good evening. T-minus, Just Julie, Clinically, Mr. Muffin, which is actually just me. I'm Mr. Muffin. I was just doing a test. Fuzzy Simba, anonymously, good evening. Yes, let's do a Roman salute. My heart goes out to you. We got a wild show tonight. All kinds of shit happening. Protests abound. Day 3 or 4 of protests in LA over the mass deportation plans. Protests happening in front of USAID and the State Department earlier today as they're demanding somebody actually do something about Elon Musk. Students walked out over immigration policy. PB Girl, good evening. The ACLU is suing over Trump's executive order on trans care. FBI agents that are being targeted by Trump are suing, saying that the list they're trying to compile to fire them is illegal. We're getting reports that 20,000 people have already taken the buyout in the federal government. I've got some of the wildest crime stories you're ever gonna fucking hear. And you're gonna say, what now, Justin? I mean, we've watched some crazy crime stories now, haven't we? A blind man was able to go in and obtain a gun, is now speaking out about gun laws. The uncle of a woman who was murdered attacked the alleged murderer in court, a Florida man in a Dalmatian costume. They're called, I'm sorry, it's funnier if I say a Dalmatian onesie. Outrun state troopers, gets tased, and the canines suck on him. Yeah. Suck on him. Got the canines. What's the word I'm looking for? Ooh, let the dogs out. Curiouser. Rocky, good evening. A couple was arrested after they were found to be partying while leaving their kid in the car. A suspect commented on a post that the police put out announcing that they were wanted. They've now been arrested. A oxygen tank that was improperly disposed of exploded in a garbage truck. Speaking of explosions, volcano in Hawaii is erupting. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening. Welcome in. Sicked. They sicked the canine on him. Is Justin better or is Justin worse than he was yesterday? Probably better. When I sit in the chair for a little bit, get up, still can't move. But once I've been up and moving, I'm fine. We're getting there. This isn't even a meme. DJ Dub, Minty. This is a literal picture I saw right-wingers sharing out. Celebrating one Mr. Trump and the release of water in California that did absolutely fucking nothing. I'm sorry. It is going to impede the ability of farmers to be able to properly hydrate their crops. We really are just, weeks away from Gatorade being, or Powerade. What was it in the, it was like a fake product, wasn't it, in Idiocracy? It's what plants crave. Rondo. It's what plants crave. We're literally a couple of weeks away from that, aren't we? Saw this also as I was coming on. Oh, I got a couple different ones I saw as I was coming on. The Young Conservatives tweeted out, "Party like it's 1928. Republicans controlled the Senate, the House, the majority of governorships, Supreme Court, and the presidency. This hasn't happened since 1928. Brookie down there chiming in, do they know what happened in 1929? I got another one for you. Conservatives can't stop obsessing over trans people. Our friend Brian chimes in here. It's pronounced mentally ill. Okay, sorry. The mentally ill folks can't stop obsessing over trans people. Did anything significant happen in 1929? No, not that I can think of. Not that I can think of. Hoover was the president. One more time. It's kind of glorious. We've had a lot of fun with AI Trump content here in the second Trump administration. Sitting Cow, good evening. I don't even know what to start with tonight. Let's start with the fact that it's just another day of mass shooting Sweden. Wasn't expecting that one. We're exporting our crime to the rest of the world, I guess. Police say around 10 people were killed in Sweden school campus shooting. I mean, at least it was an adult education center. When it happens in our country, it's like fucking kindergartners, but at least this was adults. Police say around 10 people have been killed in a shooting at an education center in central Sweden, including the suspected gunman. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson. Fuck adults. Yes, if you're gonna fuck, make sure they are an adult. Ages of consent, people. Princess Kimberly. My lord. It's another one of those nights where I struggled to even be able to get to this point to be on here with you. And I'm not high enough for this shit. If there's anything in this. Song, good evening. And Smokey got up from my lap and there's a wet spot. Did he piss on me? Did he ass juice on me? Did he just, he drools. He's a drooling cat. Did he just drool on me? Amazingly, Smokey does not like to smoke. He gets down whenever I'm hitting the bowl. To be named after a marijuana accoutrement, I think it's just drool. But you never know with Smokey. He drools a lot. At the last apartment, there was a table over where I had the futon mattress, and Smokey would look over the table at me, drool down on my face. And waking up with Maynard staring at me from up above. That's also very weird. Sorry, news. Got a lot of shit to get to. His name is Smokey Bong, by the way. That's his full name, Smokey Bong. Princess Kimberly, thank you for the resub. T- throwing out the gift sub. Thank you, my friend. If anybody deserves a sub, it's Princess Kimberly. Loyal viewer. Thank you guys for being freaking followers. I don't even remember what I was going to say now. I was going to flip into story time. Flash, good evening. Have I ever told you about how they study me while I sleep? I don't know what they might be plotting something, especially if it's Maynard. Oh, the cat's names. So, Socks was named Socks and Smokey was named Smokey. I think those aren't names fitting that I would give a cat, right? But they're already Socks was 5 when I got him. Smokey was like 2 or 3. So they know their names. They know who they are. So I couldn't just rename them, right? But I had to spice it up a little bit. Socks and Smokey are just kind of plain. So Smokey Bong and Socrates. Socks for short. That's how a cat gets the name Killer Flash. They're vicious. Smokey and Maynard decapitated a mouse in front of me. Just a little small titmouse. If you're like titmouse, what are you talking? It's Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I just recently rewatched that episode. That's what was like top of mind for me. But like I watched Smokey and Maynard torture a little cute mouse. Yeah, I had to make their names more fitting of living with somebody that has the name Freakin. Anyway, news. We're supposed to be news at 10 after. Police say around 10 people have been killed in a shooting at an education center in central Sweden. That includes the suspected gunman. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson described Tuesday's attacks at Risbergska School in Örebro, about 124 miles west of the capital city of Stockholm, as the worst mass shooting in Swedish history. Doesn't even make the top 10 in United States mass shootings. You got to bump up those numbers. Those are rookie numbers. Police said they believed the male perpetrator to be among the dead and that he was not previously known to them. There was no immediately identifiable motive. He was believed to be acting alone. It is difficult to take in the magnitude of what has happened today. It was according to Kristersson at an evening news conference. Police earlier warned the death toll could continue to rise as several people have been injured. A number of the injured have been taken to the hospital with at least 4 people undergoing operations. Police initially said 5 people had been shot. The incident was being investigated as an attempted murder, arson, and an aggravated weapons offense. Local media later began reporting that several people had died before police said around 10 people had been killed, but they could not be more specific about the fatalities. They also confirmed there did not appear to be a terror motive behind the attack. Worst mass shooting in Swedish history. I always say it, kids. I promise you, if you go do a little banging instead of a little banging, you will be much happier. Banging instead of banging. I just came up with that off the top of my head. That wasn't material. No. Just no. Just say no. RE918, you are exactly right. No terrorist motive means that the shooter wasn't brown. And I shouldn't be laughing about that.
Say that the men who managed to do that should get a Nobel Peace Prize. Do you think that you'll be able to get all the hostages?
A Nobel Peace Prize. That was the first question the press asked of Netanyahu and Trump. A Nobel Peace Prize. Holy shit.
Home. What would happen if you hear from these?
They will never give me a Nobel Peace Prize.
What would happen? What needs to happen for normalization?
It's too bad. I deserve it, but they will never give it to me.
What needs to happen?
Oh, he deserves it.
Go forward. What needs to happen for normalization in Saudi Arabia?
Well, we're going to see, and we're dealing with a lot of people, and we have steps to go yet, as you know.
Are we back? Yes, yes. Everything good? We good. I paid the bill. I am current on my internet bill. Weird that I've had as much trouble as I've had out of the internet now that I'm back on fiber optic. I did not forget to pay the bill. I am so up on all my bills. I've paid all my bills. Redolent thought, my friend. Good evening. Is everybody back in? Yeah, but you've got Spectrum. yours is always fucky. By the way, Spectrum emailed me today and was like, "Hey, we've been trying to text you and your number doesn't work." I'm like, I canceled Spectrum 3 fucking years ago. Yeah, Redolent Thought crashed my stream. It was too much awesomeness to handle. Redolent Thought, good to see you, my friend. Good evening. Good evening. This is actually not, not what I actually wanted to watch. I wanted to watch the official press conference. What we were doing just now was...
And we've been friends for a long time, and we do a great job also.
Them just riffing with reporters. There was an official press conference held just about 30, 45 minutes ago. So we're going to take that. Yeah, it was streamed 38 minutes ago. Tadpole, good evening. Fucking woke moralists.
Up yours, woke moralists. we'll see who cancels who.
So we're going to take this press conference where Trump is going to say something incredibly outrageous.
I'm Alex Pache in Washington, and President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are holding a joint press conference at the White House. Let's listen in.
Today, I'm delighted to welcome Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu back to the White House.
I mean, it's beyond the pale.
Wonderful feeling and a wonderful event. We had fantastic talks, and thank you very much with your staff. He's the first foreign head of state to visit during our administration, and Bibi, I want to say it's an honor to have you with us. Over the past 4 years, the
Stop it, warlord. Do not advocate ethnic cleansing in my chat.
has been tested more than any time in history. But the bonds of friendship and affection between the American and Israeli people have endured for generations, and they are absolutely unbreakable. They are unbreakable. I'm confident that under our leadership, the cherished alliance between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever. We had a
Don't leave us, RE. I had to cover all the news.
Years ago.
This is kind of a big story.
Not so many-
We got so many fun crime stories later.
In my first term, Prime Minister and I forged a tremendously successful partnership that brought peace and stability to the Middle East like it had
No, it didn't.
decades. Together, we defeated ISIS. We ended the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, one of the worst
How in the world did you defeat ISIS when you apparently issued a strike on ISIS a couple of days ago?
deals ever made, by the way, and imposed the toughest ever sanctions on the Iranian regime. We starved Hamas and Iran's other terrorist proxies, and
I understand, RE. Come back to us here in about 30 minutes.
seen before, resources and support disappeared for them.
I don't know that we'll watch this whole thing.
Israel's capital opened the American embassy in Jerusalem and got it built, by the way. Built it too, just not only designated it, but got it built at a price that nobody's seen.
Once again, when he talked about the Abraham Accords, that was an arms deal to sell arms to Jordan and Yemen. Had nothing to do with bringing peace to the Middle East, but, you know, we live in backwards world.
For 40 years. We got it built. It's beautiful. All Jerusalem stone, right from nearby, and it's something that
And normalized relations with the Saudis.
recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, something that they talked about for 70 years, and they weren't able to get it, and I got it. And with the historic Abraham Accord, something that was really an achievement that was, I think, going to
Sold extra weapons to the Saudis to use in Yemen.
significant Middle East peace agreements in half a century, but the Abraham Accords in particular,
TYR?
many countries was
I totally understand. If you guys ever need to, like, duck out, come back to us in 10, 15 minutes. We'll be on to another story. Tire 2? Is that how I say it? I love you, my friend. Glad to have you here.
amazing peace and economic development transaction. It really is a big economic development transaction. I think we're going to have a lot of people signing up very quickly. Unfortunately, for 4 years, nobody signed up. Nobody did anything
Here.
for 4 years except in the negative. Unfortunately, the weakness and incompetence of those years, those past 4 years, the grave damage around the globe that
Tier
was done
2. Love it.
in the Middle East, grave damage all over the globe. The horrors of October 7th would never have happened if I were president. The Ukraine and Russia disaster would never have happened if I were president. Over the past 6
I think we are headed to war with Iran. I don't know if we nuke them.
aggressive and murderous assault on every front, but they fought back bravely. You see that and you know that. What we have witnessed is an all-out attack on the very existence of the
Avalon, good evening.
Jewish homeland. The Israelis have stood strong, and
Trump goes, can you even say full mask off at this point? He's been pretty fucking mask off. I mean, he's just advocating the complete eradication of the people of Gaza.
that is kidnapped, tortured,
Exactly, Avalon. I don't know how to describe it.
men, women, children, and even little babies. I want to salute the Israeli people for meeting this trial with courage and determination and unflinching resolve. They have been strong. In our meetings today, the Prime Minister and I focused on the future, discussing how we can work together to ensure Hamas is eliminated and ultimately restore peace to a very troubled region. It's been troubled, but what's happened in the last 4 years has not been good. I want to thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for working closely with my transition team, the Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who's here somewhere. Steve? Stand up, Steve, please. What a job you've done.
An investment ghoul.
You've done. Proud of you.
I mean, I want to give him props because we got a ceasefire, but...
Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Thank you, Mike, for working so well with us. Thank you. We have, in addition...
yeah, we didn't.
Who is on the phone right now, listening to every single word that we say.
Israel has already struck inside of Gaza multiple times. I guess we're still technically under a ceasefire, but not really.
And he's going to be great. And Pete, congratulations. And Scott, congratulations. I see you're here. And Caroline's been doing a great job.
Caroline!
Probably talked about more than anybody here. She's done a fantastic job, and thank you very much, Caroline. We're proud of you. But we'll only be satisfied when all of these problems are solved, and we have the team to solve them, and that's going to happen. And it's going to happen, I think, very...
I was on the phone with a customer service. I think it was the bank the other day, and her name was Caroline. I did the Caroline thing. I was like, I bet you get that all the time. She's like, no, I get Sweet Caroline all the time. She's like, I would like to hear Outcast. Like me with the Muffin Man, I guess. I never get Frank Zappa. I always get the Drury Lane. I was on the phone with a customer service woman. Her name was Felicia. And when I was hanging up, I was like, bye, Felicia. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I bet you hear that. She's like, all the time.
Very quickly. I also strongly believe that the Gaza Strip, which has been a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades and so bad for the people anywhere near.
Here we go.
And especially those who live there. And frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time. Being in its presence just...
Luck has nothing to do with it. It's not that they're unlucky. No. Allowing Israel to bomb the shit out of them has nothing to do with fucking luck.
Has not been good, and it should not go through a process of rebuilding and occupation by the same people that have really stood there and fought for it and lived there and died there and lived a miserable existence there. Instead, we should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and there are many of them that want to do this, and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This can be paid for by neighboring countries of great wealth. It could
It's
be
literally a genocide.
3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12. It could be numerous sites, or it could be one large site. But the people will be able to live in comfort and peace, and we'll make sure something really spectacular is done. They're going to have peace. They're not going to be shot at and killed and destroyed like this civilization of wonderful people has had to endure. The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative.
It's their home.
It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site.
Who demolished it?
They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation again. A lot's happened in the last couple of weeks. We are
fucking wow.
A very respected nation again. I ended the last
No, we're not.
de facto arms embargo on over $1 billion in military assistance for Israel. And I'm also pleased to announce that this afternoon the United States withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council and ended all of the support for the UN Relief and Works Agency, which funneled money to Hamas and which was very disloyal to humanity. Today, I also took action to restore a maximum pressure policy on the Iranian regime, and we will once again enforce the most aggressive possible sanctions, drive Iranian oil exports to zero, and diminish the regime's capacity to fund terror throughout the region and throughout the world. We had no threat when I left office. Iran was not able to sell oil. Nobody was buying oil because I said, don't buy it. If you buy it, you're not doing any business with the United States. And Hamas was not being funded. Hezbollah was not being funded. Nobody was being funded. There would never have been an...
Nobody was being funded.
2 weeks ago, I once again designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. They're trying to destroy world shipping lanes, and that's not going to happen. And over the weekend, I ordered airstrikes against senior ISIS leaders hiding in the caves of Somalia and took them out. Here in America, we've begun the process of deporting foreign terrorists, jihadists, and Hamas sympathizers from our soil, just as we have people that...
Notice he says Hamas sympathizers. He has said they are going after pro-Palestinian protesters, even if they are U.S. citizens.
Are extremely evil, and we're sending them out of our country. They came from jails. They came from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they were dumped into our country. They're gang members. We're getting them out.
Come for me, bitch. Come for me. Free Palestine. Fuck you, Trump. Come for me. Come on. Put me in. I'm a white man. Putting me in jail would probably be good for my career. News will pay attention. Come for me, Trump. Free Palestine, motherfucker.
Believe, and every single...
Fuck Israel.
Is taking
Let me add that one on there, too.
Would never take them back, and they're all taking them back, and they're taking them back very gladly. And I recently signed an executive order combating the vile wave of anti-Semitism that we've seen in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks.
The anti-Semitism is coming from the man to your right. He is the one who is anti-Semitic going against the Semitic people of Palestine. This motherfucker is from Pennsylvania. Fuck off.
Together, America and Israel will renew the optimism that shined so brightly just 4 years ago. It was really a bright, beautiful light. We will restore calm and stability to the region and expand prosperity, opportunity, and hope to our nations and for all people of the Middle East, including the Arab and Muslim nations. Very important. We want the Arab and Muslim nations to have peace and have tranquility and have great lives. I'd like to now...
Next week, JustinFREAKIN direct from Gitmo. Let's fucking go.
Words and we'll take some questions afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm honored that you invited me to be the first foreign leader to visit the White House in your second term.
Gitmo stream hype.
To your friendship and support for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. I've said this before. I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
Wow.
That's why the people of Israel have such enormous...
I feel like Joe Biden is like, really, man? Really? After all I did for you?
Come on, man.
Fucking fuck.
enormous respect for you. In your first term, you recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. You moved the American embassy there. You recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You withdrew from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. I remember we spoke about it. You said, this is the worst deal I've ever seen. I'm elected, I'm walking out of it. That's exactly what you did. And I think it speaks loudly for just common sense, just looking at things and seeing them as they are. And of course, you also brokered the groundbreaking Abraham Accords in which Israel made peace with 4 Arab states. You did this in 4 months. Nothing happened.
Did you?
A quarter of a century, but in 4 months, we were able, working together under your leadership, to have 4 historic peace accords. And now in the first days of your second term, you picked up right where you left off. Your leadership helped bring our hostages home, among them American citizens.
The hostage families say that Netanyahu was the biggest impediment.
From Israel.
I might have to find that story now.
From Israel, in the midst of a 7-front war for our existence. And you just freed it. You ended unjust sanctions against law-abiding Israeli citizens. You boldly confronted the scourge of anti-Semitism. You stopped funding, as you just said, international organizations like UNRWA that support and fund terrorists. And today, you renewed the maximum pressure campaign against Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, all this in just 2 weeks. Can we imagine where we'll be in 4 years? I can. I know you can, Mr. President. For our part, we in Israel have been pretty busy too. Since the horrendous October 7th attack, we've been fighting our common enemies. And
I want to make sure that we're clear on what's going on. After accusing Netanyahu of putting his future over the hostages' families' hope for change. This was 3 weeks ago in NBC. Hostage families currently in D.C. holding a protest ahead of Netanyahu and Trump's meeting. This is the hostage families. Among those present at the protest were Inav Zengoker, whose son Matan is being held in Gaza, and Ruby Chin, the father of an American-Israeli soldier who was killed on October 7th, whose body was kidnapped to Gaza by Hamas. They're protesting the meeting of Netanyahu. Yeah, what a bunch of anti-Semites. As we're reading from Haaretz. Hostage families just a week ago accusing Netanyahu of sabotaging the ability to free the hostages. We won't let them sabotage this. Hostage families fight to keep the ceasefire alive amid fears that Netanyahu will torpedo the deal. Hostage families are escalating their protests, even appealing to the ICC to intervene. These are the victims. These are the families of the people being held in Gaza. They don't even support Netanyahu.
Changing the face of the Middle East. On that infamous day, Hamas monsters savagely murdered
Lenny, good evening.
innocent people, including more than 40 Americans. They beheaded men. They raped women, they burnt babies alive, and they took 251 people hostage to the dungeons of Gaza.
Now, once again, we don't have any evidence that babies were burnt alive. And the UN has tried to come in to investigate the sexual assault committed by Hamas. They want to investigate those claims. The problem is that it seems that the Israeli soldiers were actually doing most of the raping. So they shut down the UN coming in to investigate because they don't want them to find out what Israel has been doing.
And after this worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust, Iran and its henchmen in the Middle East were
Chainsaw, good evening.
Ecstatic. Haniya praised the massacre. Sinwar said that Israel was finished. Nasrallah boasted that Israel was, here's what he said, as feeble as a spider's web. Well, Mr. President, Haniya is gone. Sinwar is gone. Nasrallah is gone. We've devastated Hamas.
Mr. Sprague, I don't have any. I'm out. I'm going to go tomorrow. Curiouser's going to ride me by the weed store. I was able to scrape up a bowl before I came on, and because I spent like a week out last week, I don't have like much else I can scrape. I don't think I have anything else to smoke.
Decimated Hezbollah. We destroyed Assad's remaining armaments, and we crippled Iran's air defenses. And in doing this, we've defeated some of America's worst enemies. We took out terrorists who were wanted for decades for shedding rivers of American blood, including the blood of 241 Marines murdered in Beirut. We accomplished all this with the indomitable spirit of our people and the boundless courage of our soldiers. The Bible says it would cost more than me just walking to the weed store, Mr. Sprunk. The weed store is like a mile away, but my back's killing me, so I really don't want to walk. So I appreciate Curiouser coming by tomorrow. So yeah, the big news coming out of the press conference is they say they're going to level Gaza. They've also been attacking the West Bank. I thought this was a story about a Palestinian in Gaza, but this is actually about the West Bank. But just as soon as the ceasefire came in Gaza, they started attacking the West Bank. I feel like they want to level it too. They want all Palestinians evicted. But this Palestinian is vowing to stay and fight.
In the Palestinian city of Jenin in the occupied West Bank, Khalil Houail returned to rebuild his home.
They destroyed our neighborhood and other neighborhoods. They can change the geography, but they don't change the history. We will come back and build the house. We will come back to our neighborhood. I am 39 years old. I lived in this house. I have memories in this house. I will go back and I will put a tent on the ruins until I've rebuilt it.
A day earlier on Sunday, the Israeli military performed a simultaneous demolition of structures in Jenin's refugee camp. A Palestinian news agency said it leveled around 20 buildings. The Israeli military said 23 structures had been, quote, dismantled in the northern West Bank after explosives laboratories, weapons, and observation posts were uncovered. Israeli forces backed by helicopters and armored bulldozers began the assault on the city on January 21st. The United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees has said that almost all of Jenin camp's 20,000 residents have been displaced over the past 2 months.
Wow!
He and his family left when they were told to evacuate by an Israeli drone overhead.
We left with our clothes that we are wearing. We couldn't pick up something, even the important papers and clothes. We couldn't. We weren't allowed to take anything.
The Israeli operation in Jenin began 2 days after a ceasefire in Gaza between Israel and the militant group Hamas took effect. The city's governor told Reuters that the demolition in Jenin was reminiscent of the destruction in Gaza.
If we didn't write Jenin camp on the pictures, people will think it's Gaza. Yes, same picture but different location.
Wow. I don't know where this ends. And if you had any doubts, I mean, you heard Netanyahu, you heard Trump. This is the mother of a border police officer, of an Israeli border police officer. I want you, it's in Hebrew. I almost said Arabic. I had to think there for a second. It's in Hebrew. I want you to notice the captions at the bottom of the screen. Can you see them?
ותזכרו את מה שאני אומרת, אין לנו שליטה ולא יהיה לנו שליטה. זה פשוט להוציא את כל החטופים, את כל היקרים שלנו מעזה, ולא להכניס חיילים...
And not to bring in soldiers to Gaza to eliminate terrorists.
לעזה ולחסל מחבלים. פשוט...
Simply finish them from the air.
פשוט לגמור אותם מהאוויר, ילדים.
Children, babies, it's not our concern.
תינוקות, זה לא מעניין אותנו. לגמור אותם אחד אחד.
To finish them off one by one.
עכשיו בעזה. פתאום הם יצאו בהמוניהם, רכבים ודגלים ונשקים, מאיפה? אין לנו שליטה.
כן.
אין ולא יהיה.
ניצה, תודה לך הדברים.
ותזכרו את מה שאני אומרת. אין לנו שליטה ולא יהיה לנו שליטה. זה פשוט להוציא את כל החטופים, את כל היקרים שלנו מעזה, ולא להכניס חיילים לעזה ולחסל מחבלים. פשוט...
Simply finish them from the air. Children, babies, it's not our concern. Finish them off one by one.
מה קורה עכשיו בעזה?
That's a mom. That's a mom in Israel. Who's Combo Weasel? Did somebody sneak in here? What up, Combo Weasel? Look, Israel may not be right in what they do in the war zone, but we need to remember that Hamas is a terrorist group that attacked first. Is that true? How did they attack first? Terrorist is kind of in the eyes of the beholder. One country's terrorists is another country's freedom fighters. I am certain that Americans would say that the tactics employed by Hamas would be 100% justifiable if somebody was trying to occupy United States territory. And I also take issue with the idea that Hamas attacked first. First of all, you need to learn your history and learn that Hamas was funded and propped up by the Netanyahu government because they didn't want to work with the Palestinian Authority. They wanted Hamas to commit acts of terror in order to justify their genocidal campaign. You know, I like to be factual, and you can hold Hamas to account for some of the horrible things they have done. I absolutely condemn.
We condemn.
But this didn't happen in a vacuum. All right, my blood pressure sky high right now. Can we get to domestic news? Maybe that'll calm me down. A protest popped up earlier today against Elon, the Doge Committee. Lawmakers joined with several organizations. Move On. God, I I forget the list of all the people that were involved in the protest here. Doesn't Reuters doing a bad job of explaining all the groups involved in the protest, but several lawmakers are there. You can see Max Frost. I believe that might be Jasmine Crockett right there, as well as several other large organizations. This is outside of the State Department.
Thank you for coming out today. Try not to block the street, please, if you can. I'm Rana Epting. I'm with Move On. And on behalf of our millions of members that are incredibly upset about Elon messing around with this building back here, I want to thank you for joining.
So yeah, this is in front of the Treasury Department.
But I've got some
I said the State Department.
Did Elon Musk win any electoral college votes this last November?
He bought some.
That's right. Did Elon Musk have the authority to operate a secret government that has access to our social security numbers and our Medicaid checks? No! That's right. So
the Supreme Court kind of told him he did.
Is what is happening a takeover by an unelected billionaire? No one elected Elon Musk. But with President Trump's blessing, he has given himself tremendous power with no oversight and no accountability. Musk has shown us he wants to slash Meals on Wheels, shutter preschools, end school lunches for kids in need, while he's steering our government to help himself and his companies. And it's just one piece of the Trump-Musk plan to take money away from us, the people, and replace it with tax cuts for billionaires. Did you vote for that? It's outrageous. It must end. That's why we're here today. It's why on Sunday night,
what are we going to do about it?
1,000 people joined us on a live stream to take action and call on their members and their senators.
I'm all about taking action. What action are we going to take exactly, huh? What are we going to do about it? Because, I mean, at this point in time, we're going to have to actually go to the streets. We're going to have to arm ourselves. Revolution is about the only thing that we can do at this point. I hate to tell you. I wish that wasn't the case, but it kind of is.
To fight this. And our elected officials are listening. Many of them are here with us right now. We're about to hear from many of them who are using their unique power to defend the people from this hostile takeover. And we're going to start with a good friend of ours, Representative Maxwell Frost.
Show me what democracy looks like.
DJ Dub bringing this up. I'm glad you brought it up. I forgot to put this on the list. Tomorrow, 50 states, 50 protests against Project 2025. Taking place at every state capital across the country. Protests against Project 2025 and President Donald Trump's executive orders are planned for Wednesday at state capitol buildings in all 50 states. But once again, what in the fuck is this going to do? Dahurumba. Did I say that correctly? Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. Welcome. Thank you for being a freaking follower. Boy Meets Minnie. Welcome in. So glad to see you guys. Tier 2. Combo Weasel. Glad you're on the right side of this one. Thank you for being a freaking follower. It gives the libs feels. It feels like they did something. I don't know. I'm just being... The time for community building was years ago. I'm just a fucking talk show host. I've worked in radio and media all my life. I don't know shit about fuck. But just protesting, if it, like, yes, do something. I'm going to promote the protest and tell you guys, if you're close to your capital, if you can make it tomorrow, fucking go out for it. Don't know what the fuck it's going to do, though. Just being a realist. And the more we protest, the more we're going to get cracked down on. I mean, they're already talking about, you heard it at the press conference, they want to deport pro-Hamas sympathizers, he said. This happened yesterday at the Day Without Migrants protest in L.A.
First, breaking news. Dozens detained after an all-day and all-night immigration protest in downtown L.A. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Pat Harvey. KKL's Jeff Nguyen was in the middle of it all, and he's live for us tonight in downtown. Jeff?
Pat, the last time we checked in with you live, we were down that tunnel near Union Station. Right now, you can see all of the black and white units out.
To get you up, we covered the protests in L.A. that they were blocking the streets. LAPD declared it unlawful. They broke up the protests. Violence ensued.
And as we turn our camera in this direction, this is the corner of Alameda and Cesar Chavez, where there is a small group of demonstrators.
DJ Dub, thank you for giving out the gift sub.
Basically taunting LAPD. At times, we have been seeing people doing donuts in this intersection, which is why you see some of the markings on the ground. Speaking of donuts, we want to show you some examples of the bad behavior that we have seen tonight and why LAPD wanted to put a stop to it very quickly. Take a look. This is a danger.
A lot of right-wingers have been saying, like, oh, they're waving flags of a country they don't want to go back to. Let me tell you something, stupid fuck right-wingers. California used to be Mexico. DJ Dub being generous tonight. Dougie, good evening.
Video of this convertible Mustang doing donuts. Two people are on the back seat recording on their phones when the rear left wheel smacked right up against a curb. The force sent
Love you, DJ Dub.
Phones flying in the air. And moments before that, the driver was whipping donuts right in front of a moving Metro bus, narrowly missing that bus as it drove through the intersection. And after the Mustang crashed, a mob of young people surrounded it. A young woman was holding onto the side.
Ironic, good evening.
Convertible, when the driver stepped on the gas and the
Tim Fox
went face first into the pavement.
The news be making me mad.
Given to us by a spectator. This man was waving a flag in the middle of the intersection.
Not these people. These people are giving me hope.
Hits him and he goes down very hard. And unlike last night, the LAPD and CHP did manage to keep people off the 101. There were
DJ Dub, you were awesome.
Officers did manage to corral people into a tunnel, about 200 of them on East Cesar Chavez near Union Station. The demonstrators say they wanted to protest the Trump administration's promise to expel people in the country illegally, particularly those charged or convicted of crimes.
You go fuck around and get a hype train going.
The right to free speech went away when violence broke out. Officers say that people threw rocks and bottles at them, vandalized their property, and blocked the
fuck you, cops.
Initially, the plan was to cite and release the people in the tunnel.
Throw rocks and bottles at the cops. I'm all for it.
To give them another verbal warning.
They were warned.
Light one up for DJ Dub.
And they were advised that if they do not leave and if they converge again and continue this illegal activity, they will be cited and in some cases arrested.
So you may have heard over my mic during that video that we were playing.
Kelly, did I tell you good evening?
Again, telling people that they need to get out of here or they run the risk of being arrested. We should tell you, however, that despite the vast majority...
City count, I gave you a shout out.
Warning, the LAPD did arrest one person who had a semi-automatic weapon on him. Tonight, they are also trying to find a person who fired off a firework at one of the LAPD helicopters, so they are trying to find that person, but so far just one arrest as they look to arrest the person who shot firework at the helicopter. For now, we are live in downtown Los Angeles. Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
Jeff.
Did you do good in the market today or something? Love you. Thank you so much. I don't know what to do if a hype train does get started. It doesn't make any sense to me. At this point in time, I don't even care if who gives a shit what conservatives say. Like Dahorumba. Like, once upon a time, I would have agreed with you. Would have appealing to the normies and blah, 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 blah. Like, at this point now, like, who gives a shit? I mean, Fox News gonna Fox News, Newsmax gonna Newsmax. It doesn't matter what the facts are. Right-wingers are gonna fucking lie. Had somebody call in last night. He gets proven wrong, makes me look it up and put it on the screen for him, still doesn't accept it. So it's animating people that are on our side, not trying to win over people who are on the other side at this point. So that's one of the reasons why I explain it all the time. That's why I just broke down and started calling right-wingers morons. I graduated with my degree in philosophy and communications back in 2014, 2015, whenever the fuck it was. And I, like, Facebook, Twitter at the time, I'm like, hey, I can use logic and reason. I can lay out my points for these people. And do you know what I got? I got called a libtard. And then it became woke, and then it became like all the other shit that they call me now. All the way up to like pedo. And that's the most hilarious thing to me. I get called groomer and pedo. I don't care. Let them bring it on. You know, it'd be different if I had a job where I was in front of children or something. It'd be kind of weird to have people call me pedo all the time. But the fact that I hate children, have never been around them in my life, to call me a pedo is just fucking funny. Yeah, unfollow me. We're going to toke and get woke over here on this show.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Hundreds of students walked out in California to protest Trump's immigration policy.
And breaking news today, more local protests are happening over President Trump's immigration policies.
Students at several schools have walked out of class. KTLA 5's Rich Prickett is above a crowd in downtown Los Angeles.
You want to talk about a curmudgeon? I'm not proud of it. But remember, I was laid up with my whole back issue and everything, right? So I could barely move on Sunday. And about noon, 1 o'clock, somebody knocks on my door. I don't pay any fucking attention. I don't give a shit who knocks on my door. If you were supposed to be here, I would have invited you and I would know that you were coming over. About an hour or two later, get a knock on my door again. And I kind of get myself out of the floor. They knock on the door again. I'm like, God damn it. And I go to the door, and there are these two. One is an elderly lady. She's probably 60 or something. The other is like 40s, 50s. I don't know. The elderly lady has a cane. She's black. And she's the one knocking on my door. The other lady's kind of back a little bit. And I'm like, what the fuck do you want? And they're like, we're looking for Jason, I think is what they said. I was like, well, do I fucking look like him? And all right, yeah. And she kind of like, she's going down the stairs and she looks back. It was like, rude ass. And I'm like, you know what was fucking rude? It's knocking on my goddamn door because I didn't want you here. I'll come down there and punch an old lady in the face. Had to get my ass out of the floor. Why is there some old bitch knocking on my door anyway? I don't like people. There are only a couple of people that are allowed to even come to my apartment. I mean, yeah, I'm rude. Why is she knocking on my fucking door? Why is she knocking on my... And she knocked on my door 3 different times during the day. The first time wasn't enough. Lila, good evening. I'm gonna put a goddamn sign on my door. Do not bother me. I am not your friend. It's a nice door, Lenny. I mean, I guess. One of the panes is this house is somewhat nice. It looks decent from the outside, but like one of the panes in the door is like, it's a different color. It's whited out or something. So like that kind of makes the door look ghetto. But other than that, the house is pretty nice. Question bars, good evening. Welcome in. So a lot of people came in while I was ranting, apparently. I'm sorry, I'll get back to the news. Hundreds of students walked out today in California to protest the actions by Holiday. Good evening.
And breaking news today, more local protests are happening over President Trump's immigration policies.
Students at several schools have walked out of class. KTLA 5's Rich Prickett is above a crowd in downtown Los Angeles in Sky 5. Rich
Prickett?
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, and you're seeing a few hundred of those students here making a march towards City Hall. We're along First Street in San Pedro, so making our way through the little Tokyo area from the Boyle Heights area. You can see the long line of protesters that are making their way along First Street, as well as a caravan of cars that are
Colt, good evening.
Behind them, all with flags and signs. Where are they headed? Well, they're headed down First Street, and they're going to make their way over to City Hall, where they're going to merge with
Rich Prick, the reporter.
That's here on the steps of City Hall. So there's going to be several hundred, if not well over 1,000 of students that will now be joined together here in front of City Hall in downtown LA. This, of course, all in protest of the recent enforcement of immigration policies. We've seen another group that was along Hill Street in the Alvarez Street area, which will eventually make their way towards this direction as well. But now several groups becoming a large group here in the front of City Hall. Live in Sky 5, I'm Rich Prickett. Send it back to you in Hollywood.
All right.
Fucking Rich Prickett. T-Minus throwing out the gift sub. Thank you so much. I didn't reset the sub goal back to like 69 when I lost everybody. Like the space out after the election and everything, and I was off for a few weeks. And usually I set the goal at like 69 or then 169 or whatever, as if I care about goals. I appreciate you guys just being here. Is it a sex number? I had no idea that it had anything to do with sex. Are you shitting me? Is that true? Thank you, T-Minus. What does 69 have to do with sex? I just thought it was a cool number. That's why people were into it.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I thought 32 was the number.
Hey, Justin, are you
butt
trolling?
to butt? DJ Dub, T-Minus are competing with each other. Gotta love you guys. Ass to ass. Ass to ass. Oh, 42. I'm sorry. I got the number wrong. Mama Az, good evening. We're gonna listen to some detainees that were released after an ICE raid happened in, I think this was Illinois. I think this was Illinois. Fuck, I love you guys.
The 6 people detained in an ICE raid at a popular restaurant now out on bond.
Yeah, 19 News has uncovered the people rounded up were not the original targets. Stephen
Tones, welcome in.
New information.
It's hopping tonight.
Will hopefully be released by the end of today. And
Dem or Rep? Are you asking me if I am a Democrat or a Republican? I am neither. I am whatever demon rep. Listen, my politics are highly malleable. If I thought that being a conservative would get me towards my goal of pissing in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole, I would be a conservative. Give me that eye pussy, sir. But I kind of feel like the leftists are the most likely to hold Dan Crenshaw down and pull his stupid eye patch off of that fucking eye pussy. I'm sorry, Avalon. I don't do it as much as I used to. Also, I'm not the one that came up with eye pussy. Snake Plissken looking motherfucker indeed. Don't insult Kurt Russell like that. T-minus, thank you so much. I don't even know what is going on in the chat tonight. You guys rock. You just bought my pot for next month. I appreciate it. Oculusy. What happened to the person that asked me if I was a Democrat or Republican? What the fuck are you? You a Democrat? You a Republican? Either way, I got a bone to pick with you. Doesn't if you're a libertarian, I definitely got a bone to pick with you. Fuck libertarians.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Combo, are you saying uh-oh because you're a libertarian? Okay, here's the thing, is like you would call me a left-leaning libertarian. That would most accurately describe my position on the political compass. The difference is I don't call myself a libertarian because libertarians are fucking stupid. Yeah, libertarians should have more in common with the left than they do the right. But you see the Libertarian Party supporting Donald Trump. Yeah, everybody thinks they're a libertarian until they actually sit down and learn about politics. Libertarian is like a surface level understanding of politics. Chase Oliver is at least tolerable. I can agree. I think Chase Oliver and I could have a great conversation and come to a lot of mutual conclusions. Angela McGirdle, who has blocked me on Twitter, she and I are far fucking apart. Byronic's a champagne socialist. Okay, anyway, we're going to listen to some detainees who were let out after ICE raided a restaurant.
An ICE raid at a popular restaurant now out on bond.
Yeah, 19 News has...
She was the Libertarian Party chair.
We're not the original targets. Stephen Hernandez with the new information.
At this point now, the clients will hopefully be released by the end of today, and they will have...
I love her glasses.
...the immigration court going forward.
Last month, ICE agents arrested 6 people at Cilantro Taqueria in Cleveland Heights. Today, 5 of those individuals were released on bond. The law office of Margaret Wong is representing the detainees. They confirmed all 6 are undocumented, but also do not have any previous criminal history. They also said the one...
Yeah, Minty, that's how I found out I was blocked by her on Twitter. I heard the news of her resigning from her position. Sparkles was going to get us an interview. Sparkles knows somebody that knows her because she was dating a libertarian that was like the head of the state party. But apparently she don't like me.
One person still locked up could also be out soon.
One of our clients is still going to be detained, but we are going to work towards finding a way for him to be released at a different time.
That makes perfect sense, Flash.
Discovering new
She's also incredibly stupid.
Happened inside the restaurant a week ago. According to attorney Amit Khalab, the detainees said ICE agents came into the Euclid Heights Boulevard restaurant looking for one person in particular.
ICE did enter the restaurant with a photo of a certain person that they were looking for. They were asking all of the people in the restaurant for this individual and his location.
No one in the restaurant knew where that person was, but ICE still detained everyone else there.
What?
We have no knowledge of that person. We don't know who he is. We were never provided any documentation from the government as to relation of the photo or anything that they were using to find that person.
The detentions made at Cilantro are part of what the lawyers are calling a very clear increase in ICE activity over the past few weeks.
Oh, yes. Yes, because the order is down, they need numbers.
I reached out to ICE's Detroit field office, which covers Cleveland, asking them for a comment on the bond release and what led them to detain the 6 others, but I've yet to receive a response. For now, Wong and her team will focus on the legal process ahead.
Is your team confident that the 5 that are set to be released today will have a favorable outcome in court, including that 6th person?
I bet.
In Cleveland, Steven Hernandez, 19 News.
Yeah, that actually happened in Ohio. Somebody in the chat mentioned the people who have the ability to file lawsuits have filed lawsuits. We need to support those organizations. That's one of the things that we can do right now. The ACLU is one of them, and they are standing up for our trans homies.
Today, the American Civil Liberties Union sued the Trump administration over the president's executive order targeting gender-affirming care for minors. The lawsuit says Trump's actions, quote, unconstitutionally usurp congressional authority by withholding lawfully appropriated federal funds and violate the rights of trans youth by, quote, depriving them of necessary medical care solely on the basis of their sex and transgender status. Our White House correspondent Laura Barone-Lopez has been covering this and joins us now. So, Laura, just lay out the scope for us of the president's executive order and what's happened since it was signed.
Last week, President Trump signed an executive order targeting gender-affirming care for minors, and that action states that the federal government will not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called transition of a child from one sex to another. And we should note that that order defines child as anyone
until
19, which includes legal adults in many states. The order also threatens to withhold federal funding from hospitals or institutions that may also happen to provide gender-affirming care. And that's led some providers, even in states that protect this kind of care, to suspend it. Children's National in D.C. said that it is pausing all puberty blockers and hormone treatment prescriptions for youth. Reports of similar moves are also in Colorado and New York, which led New York Attorney General Letitia James. She told providers that canceling care would violate state law. We should note, Amna, that gender-affirming care is endorsed by the majority of major U.S. medical associations.
Overwhelming majority.
I know you've been talking to a family in Texas who says they're feeling an immediate impact.
The people who know what they're talking about.
A couple of years ago, we interviewed a Texas family, John, Mary, and their now 14-year-old trans daughter, Leah. We've changed their name to protect their identity. And after Texas banned gender-affirming care for minors, they started going to New Mexico for treatment. We spoke to John and Mary again today, and since the executive order, they say that they haven't been able to get a hold of their doctor in New Mexico. They were actually planning to try to move to Colorado, one of the states that supports and provides gender-affirming care for minors, but Leah had her bags packed and was ready to go, but now they say that the signals from Colorado are murky, and it's unclear if they're going to continue to provide treatments. And here's John.
It was definitely going to be just a safer move, and to be in a place where our daily lives just felt safe and accepted was worth the effort to do that move. But now with these executive orders, he's already talked about going after sanctuary states if they don't comply with his orders. So we're kind of now in this weird floating place where, yeah, we want to get out of here, but can we really go anywhere where we're going to be safe?
Leah's parents told us that she has enough medication, that's puberty blockers and hormone treatment, to last until about June, but they don't know what may happen after that, Amna.
So, Laura, back it up here. What is the White House
back it up
for this executive order, and what is the ACLU saying their legal argument is to challenge it here?
The White House claims that this is about protecting children, and they've increasingly described gender-affirming care in graphic and sometimes
will someone think of the children?
Quote, chemical castration and, quote, mutilation. And it's important to fact-check that treatments like puberty blockers are commonly used and are reversible, and gender-affirming care for minors is rare. All gender-affirming care treatments are part of extensive evaluations between doctors and families. But the White House's main argument here is that with this action and other sweeping actions that they've taken so far, they say that the president has the authority to stop funding from going to anything that they believe is against or the opposite of the president's ideological agenda. Now, we spoke to Chase Strangio, who's an attorney at ACLU, who argues the opposite.
President Trump simply does not have the authority to attempt to cut off federal funding for institutions that provide medical care for transgender adolescents, and that he is directing his federal agencies to violate federal law that in fact protects the provision of this care. We're also arguing that these attempts to restrict care violate the individual constitutional rights of transgender adolescents and their parents.
Now, Chase said that their argument also...
Did he say anything important? Because I was just flipped out by, I didn't expect that voice.
So is saying that...
He had really cool hair.
The transgender people are protected under the Equal Protection Rights Clause against discrimination based on sex. And this is also about due process rights of parents. And I should note, Amna, that I accidentally said that gender-affirming care for minors is rare. It's gender-affirming care surgery for minors is incredibly rare.
Thank you for that important clarification. But a broader look here now.
And when surgery does happen, it's like 15, 16-year-olds. And that is insanely rare.
Look at the rights of transgender people. Where does this move from the Trump administration fit into any broader pattern that we've seen?
Dina Nader, welcome back.
When it comes to trying to dismantle some transgender rights, that includes instructing the government to acknowledge only two genders, moving trans women to men's prisons, directing the DOD to reinstitute the trans military ban, and stopping social transitioning in schools. And tomorrow we are expecting that the president will sign another executive action that would ban trans athletes from playing on girls' and women's school sports teams. Amna.
Laura Barone-Lopez, thank you.
Thank you.
So why did you say Flash spreads misinformation? Because I do not believe that to be the case. And judging from your comprehension of facts, I kind of think you don't know what you're talking about. Because, man, you should really feel embarrassed about last night. But if right-wingers could feel embarrassment, there'd be no right-wingers. They're not seizing passports for trans people. They're halting producing passports for exterior. And it's wild that you keep telling us about our country and you don't even live here. So I do know that IDs are being invalidated. I do know that people that have IDs that state that they are a different gender than what they were assigned at birth have been invalidated. That's a thing that happened via executive order, and that sucks. Didn't you just ask me that, Burrow? Are you a Democrat or Republican? I'm going to assume a Republican because you asked me the same stupid question 3 times. The FBI agents being targeted by Trump are suing FBI agents who participated in investigations related to President Donald Trump have sued over Justice Department efforts to develop a list of employees involved in those inquiries that they fear could be a precursor to mass firings. 2 lawsuits filed Tuesday in federal court in Washington on behalf of anonymous agents demand an immediate halt to the collection of the potential dissemination of names of investigators who participated in probes of the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. Elon says it's wrong to release names of people. Did I get that wrong? That's what he said. He says it's illegal to release names of people that are illegally accessing data. The suits mark an escalation in high-stake dispute that burst into public view on Friday with revelations that the Justice Department had demanded from the FBI the names, offices, and titles of all employees involved in January 6 investigations so that officials could evaluate whether any personnel action was merited. Thousands of FBI employees were also asked over the weekend to fill out an in-depth questionnaire about their participation in the probes, a step they worry could lead to termination. Literally, the weaponization of the Justice Department, which is what they said they were fighting against your political opponents. I don't have much faith in our courts anymore. That's the problem. Apparently, 20,000 workers have been reported to take the buyout from President Trump. This is according to an administration official, so about 20,000 federal workers have accepted the buyout offer put forward by the Trump administration last week. This is according to a senior administration official. It's a significant number of people, about 1% of the federal workforce, but still substantially less than the White House's target of 5% to 10%. The offer is open through Thursday, meaning the total could rise despite heavy opposition from unions and others. We expect more to come. If you see what's happening at U.S. Aid, it's just one piece of the puzzle. This is according to, once again, this is an administration official, HU. So I kind of doubt the number is that high. Also, welcome in, my friend. It has proven trickier than expected because some agencies are still taking on new workers. The buyout offer entitles federal employees to stop working more or less immediately and continue to be paid through September. That more or less thing is kind of tricky. And I believe it was Robert Reich who said, you might not want to do that because you might not get paid. Hey, Deanonator, stick with the topic. I don't know what you're trying to come at Flash for, but you're probably fucking wrong. Once again, you should feel embarrassed by the way you looked last night. Holy shit. But we're glad to have you back here. That's why you should stick around. And instead of trying to start arguments, learn something. Like, it's cool to have debates. I'm definitely all about it. But you should chill and learn some shit. Learn the lay of the land. Uh-oh. Stray Cat is at the door. How do I know? Smokey's making a noise. I can't take another cat in, question marks. I can't have a fourth cat. That's too many. And I'm definitely not in a position. I feed it. I take it nip. Let me go grab Smokey and get him away from the door. Now, you will notice I'm probably not going to walk very straight when I get up. But I'll be better by the time I come back. I probably shouldn't have grabbed him. He might be ready to ass juice where he's been fucking with the other cat. His tail's all fluffed out and shit. He went right back for the door. And the cat outside, super cute. She's itty bitty. And that's another thing, like, I've got 3 big old honking boys. And that cat outside is itty bitty. God, it sounds like he's trying to tear down the door. A church that was vandalized by the Proud Boys now controls the group's trademark. The Proud Boys may have gotten pardoned from their seditious conspiracy charges, but they are barred from selling merchandise using its name or symbols without permission from a black church once vandalized by the right-wing extremist group's members. This is according to a Washington, D.C. judge ruling yesterday. Judge Tanya Jones Boisier of the Supreme Court, or the Superior Court of the District of Columbia, turned control of the Proud Boys trademark over to the Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church, which was attacked by members of the group, including former leader Enrique Tarrio, who says he's still the leader. The church previously won a $2.8 million default judgment against the Proud Boys in 2023, but sought control of the group's trademarked name when it failed to pay up. Now the church can attempt to seize any money the Proud Boys make via any sale, transfer, disposition, or license of the group's name or signature logos, including a black and yellow laurel wreath, according to the order. Tarrio called for the judge's impeachment and suggested the church should be audited, asserting retribution is inevitable. Their actions are a betrayal of justice, reminiscent of Judas's treachery, Tarrio said. I hold in contempt any motions, judgments, and orders issued against me. Have you seen the post that goes around every so often? Like somebody's describing the Proud Boys and a woman's like, well, what are they proud of? Are they potty trained? All right, we're going to move on. We're going to transition into the crime stories. This first one's not really a crime story. This is just a Only in America story. This is an Only in America story. Are you guys ready for this one? A blind man went and bought a gun.
This is how Terry Sutherland navigates the world, with his seeing eye stick. It's what he used when he came to this office in the city-county building to get fingerprinted for his concealed carry permit.
It just went very smoothly and normally, and nobody seemed to think anything about it. It was mind-boggling. It shocked me more than I expected. I thought at the last second somebody would go, wait a minute, and it just would not get approved. I'd get a letter that explained, listen, you can't aim a gun or put a bullet where it's supposed to go, so we're not going to give you this permit.
But that didn't happen. Now his concealed carry permit sits in a lanyard around his neck. Sutherland says he's not against the Second Amendment. Before he lost his sight as a teenager, he learned how to safely use guns with his family. But he says being able to get his concealed carry permit highlights a problem with Indiana's gun laws. His solution is something some states already do. People would have to pass a competency test at a gun range before being allowed to carry a gun in public.
I think competency with a lethal weapon is the bare minimum we can do.
Second Amendment advocate and lawyer Guy Relford challenged Sutherland's idea.
We start putting government-imposed restrictions on a constitutional right. I always think that's dangerous and inappropriate, and that's not to say people shouldn't be trained. But society always functions better when people exercise personal responsibility and understand of their own volition that they need to be safe and responsible with that gun. To me, it's a bit of a ploy to go out and establish an argument for restricting constitutional rights where, by the way, We've had constitutional carry since 2022.
Constitutional carry allows anyone in Indiana to carry a gun in public without a license. Sutherland says he just wants common sense gun laws that keep the public safe.
If I can have a gun, why can't I have a driver's license? What's the worst that could happen? I could kill somebody?
Does a mom?
Yeah! Yeah! Hey, Deanator, you're a fucking idiot. That's not how treaties work. Yes, a president can theoretically back us out of, like, the Iran deal. They don't expire at the end of a presidency. Why would any country sign a treaty with us? That's fucking stupid. Agreement, treaty, same fucking difference. Holy shit. Yes, it is. Buddy, you are fucking stupid. You really need to learn some shit. You can't accept that you were wrong. You got proven wrong last night, so you have to come in with some dumbass bullshit. Like, my God. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh, no, an agreement expires when the next president takes office. Buddy, you don't have evidence. That's fucking stupid. You are trying to cope with the fact that I made you look fucking dumb last night. And you're trying to fucking backspin some kind of fucking story about why you didn't look stupid. Buddy, you're 25 fucking years old. You don't know shit about fuck. Learn shit. It's okay to admit that you don't know what you're talking about. Holy shit. You're an idiot, brother. I'm not relitigating this, and like, the chat wants to do the news. You tried to come in here and show us that you weren't an idiot, and you made a bigger idiot of yourself. Now, we're going to get to some fun crime stories. Well, if you could call them fun. Two people were killed in a shooting. We've apparently got some video. Like, I can't imagine somebody that didn't even know what we were talking about last night is going to come in and tell us that we didn't understand it. Like, you don't think that seems a little odd? An agreement that you didn't even know existed until last night when I informed you of it. You're going to come in here and tell me you know more about it than me. Are you fucking serious? This is why I call right-wingers goddamn morons. It's just another day in mass shooting USA.
New at 4, 2 men were killed in the middle of an Athens Park neighborhood last night.
Terrifying video capturing the moments.
Oh my God. Okay, here's the thing, because I can't help myself. First of all, you got to put the link in the Discord, because you're not allowed. You don't have link privileges, because I don't want stupid people like you coming and crusting up my show. Post it in the Discord. Let's see what you got. Because remember, last night, you told me that we had an agreement that we wouldn't let Ukraine join NATO. And then you posted some shit about Angela Merkel. Okay, so we got some local news station that says, does the U.S. have a duty to protect Ukraine? Let's see what they say. As if, a local news station is where we'd go to for this information. Let's watch it.
President Vladimir Putin warned of, quote, consequences never seen in history if the U.S. and NATO retaliated. But does the U.S. have an obligation to defend Ukraine and counter Russia? WHSV's Ben Beddoes looked into it. Ben?
Haley, I spoke with Dr. Bernie Kostler.
So I've got some 22-year-old reporter that spoke to a political scientist at a college?
A political science professor at James Madison University about what the U.S.'s role in protecting Ukraine. The U.S. technically does not have to do anything by law since Ukraine is not in NATO.
So James Madison, and technically doesn't have to do anything by law.
It's not a treaty obligation. A treaty obligation, Article 5 under NATO, means by law the U.S. has to come to the aid of other NATO countries. Last time NATO did that was after 9/11.
The U.S.
He's not even talking about the Budapest agreement that we were discussing. He's saying, like, if they were part of NATO, we would be obligated to protect them. This isn't even about the thing you were... God damn, you're fucking dumb. This is why I call right-wingers fucking morons. You fucking imbecile. Jesus.
Did make a deal in 1993 with Ukraine known as the Budapest Agreement that involved removing nuclear weapons from Ukraine in exchange for protection from Russia. But this was a deal, not a treaty.
The Iran nuclear deal, it was an agreement, just like the Budapest Agreement in 1993. So the next president can just no longer honor it. That's exactly what Trump did with the Iran nuclear deal, right? If it's a treaty,
that's not how that shit works.
Nothing.
That's why you don't listen to some dumb fuck from James Madison. Holy shit. Buddy. You were a fucking moron. This is why I hate right-wingers. 1, 2, get down. Don't tell me what to do, you stupid son of a bitch. I'll do whatever I want. Jesus. Oh my God. But presidents don't have to honor the agreements that were made by other presidents. I don't have any smoke. Brother, I don't know what to tell you. You didn't even know that it existed until last night. And now you're coming in to tell me that, like, I'm wrong based on some dumb fuck professor at James Madison University. Do you know what James Madison University is, first of all? It's a far-right college that produces dipshits. Yes, and the professor didn't even really say what you said they said. This is probably a dumbass that believes in the unitary executive theory and thinks the president can do whatever the fuck he wants. It's not PragerU. It is a far-right private college in Wisconsin. This channel does not provide disinformation. You're a fucking dumbass. You didn't even know what we were talking about last night. And then you come in here and try to act like you know better than us. Like, buddy, learn to feel embarrassment. I mean, James Madison is an accredited university, so it's not PragerU. Yeah, it's a 25-year-old Canadian, doesn't even live in the U.S., doesn't know shit what he's talking about. But hey, I like to get worked up. Anyway, two people killed, 5 others, including a young boy, injured because it was just another day in mass shooting USA. Stabby, good evening.
New at 4, 2 men were killed in the middle of an Athens Park neighborhood last night.
Terrifying video capturing the moment.
Fucking wow!
Rang out near Jarvis in 132nd. This neighbor says the shooting happened right in front of his house. You could hear those several gunshots go off and what appeared to be smoke and gunpowder floating through the air. He tells us 2 bullets hit his home, but thankfully he wasn't there at the time.
It's terrifying just to be in this type of environment. I've been here all my life, and to experience this, you know, you feel very insecure where you're at. And
DJ Dub, thank you.
There's been instances where people have broken into our cars. Now this is happening. So with everything that's happening, it's just, you know, we don't feel safe.
This is just east of the 110 in South LA. Deputies say they found 2 men with gunshot wounds. They were taken to the hospital, but neither survived. Deputies later learned of 4 men and a child who were also hurt in the gunfire. They were treated at local hospitals and are expected to be.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Hey, Mark Brown. Was that just random? Alien, good evening. Didn't seem like it was targeted. Oh, no, boy, don't worry. I mean, I'm the one going hard on him. I'm clumsy. I'm too stupid to own a gun. If you're not self-aware like that, then you probably shouldn't own a gun either. Why would I own a taser? Gee, well, like, what the fuck? Are you violent? I've been alive for 40 years. I've traveled all over this country to major metropolitan areas. I've never once felt unsafe or felt the need to have a gun or a taser. Buddy, we did our own research. You don't know what you're doing. You didn't know shit about it last night. You were literally fucking giving me an opinion on something you knew nothing about. How are you this goddamn stupid? Dean, my friend, shut your fucking mouth. Learn. Observe. Don't come in here trying to tell other people that they don't know what they're talking about when you're the dumb fuck. I gotta piss and I don't have an eye pussy handy. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Wall for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news be doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the culture.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news clip, panic attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discords, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Good.
Right-wingers are morons.
Light one hit and tip one back. One more clip before we hit the set. Set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but he takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up. Tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
I do a show with a fucking troll head where I make dig and fart jokes. This is the most sophomoric show you could tune into. But I assure you, I don't spread misinformation. I do my research. I know what I'm talking about. And when I get something wrong, I'm quick to correct myself. I encourage the chat to make sure that I'm right. And the chat corrects me all the time. Flash being one of the best resources I have in the chat. So, just saying, like, I'm the show that should have the least journalistic integrity, and I probably have the most. So, Dean, my friend, you can go fuck yourself. We've got body camera footage. We've got several stories where we have body cam released. This was a shooting that took place in Denver, I think last month. So they've released body cam footage of a shooting that happened previously.
Today, Denver police released dramatic footage of an officer's response to a fight that left 2 men dead. Thanks for joining us at 4 o'clock. I'm Tom Green.
And I'm Kim Christensen. This shooting happened last
week
at a 7-Eleven at...
That's Tom Green? Really let himself go, didn't he?
35th and Colorado Boulevard.
Cleaned himself up. I don't know which way.
On scene just as the killings just happened and exchanged gunfire with the suspected shooter. Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates joins us. And Kevin, this incident was tragic, but it sounds like it could have been much, much worse.
Kim and Tom, that officer was shot at an unknown number of times, and yet somehow he came away without a scratch.
What?
We're showing a Denver police officer's body camera footage. Footage that makes it possible to understand the gunfight that followed and the shocking reality that no one got hit.
Put your hands up!
No one.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Really just by the grace of God that our officer did go home.
Today, Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas and Commander Matt Clark walked reporters through the details of the January 27th incident.
Transparency is very important, and so I think that this is certainly something of significant community concern.
An incident in which 2 groups of people got into a dispute inside a 7-Eleven, and then a fight outside, and then gunfire that would leave 2 men dead.
It was an encounter where they came together for different purposes, getting drinks or gas at the gas station.
The officer arrived moments later. Stills from his camera showing a man on the ground, another near a car, a muzzle flash, and the officer firing back.
He's going westbound on Bruce!
Then he ran after the man as he fled.
Party's down at the gas station!
Fled down alleys.
He jumped the fence!
The cop was not hit, and the cop didn't hit anyone. I believe the 2 people died as a result of their own exchange of gunfire.
That's the street, the McDonald's. I need a perimeter set up.
Police found the suspect hiding in a shed, a gun resting in the snow. The man faces charges of firing on that officer and other crimes, but as of now, he has not been charged with killing the 2 men who died. That gun that the officers found in the snow was privately manufactured. That means it could have been made with a 3D printer or from parts that are available on the internet. Such guns have no serial number and cannot be traced.
What they call ghost guns.
As ghost guns. Live in the
I just said that.
9 News.
You know, so often we request this kind of video. In this case, you know, it's great that the police are saying we want to be transparent, but also gives us real insight into the seconds of something like this and how dangerous that was for that officer.
Yeah, Kim, unlike many other departments, Denver has actually been proactively releasing body cam footage. This incident happened just 8 days ago, and today they made that footage public.
All right, yeah. Well, I think it helps us all learn and appreciate what they do in so many ways. Thanks, Kevin.
I don't appreciate what they do. You speak for yourself, ma'am. We're going to go down to Houston for this one. According to U.S. Marshals, this was a fugitive wanted for child sex assault, and I guess he got what he deserved.
Also right now, a man wanted for the aggravated sexual assault of a child is recovering after being shot by police and bitten by a police dog.
Oh, wow, I didn't know he survived. My bad, he didn't get what he deserved. Anti-war machine.
Man wanted for the aggravated sexual assault of a child is recovering after being shot by police and bitten by a police dog.
Authorities say 32-year-old Robert Johnson was on the run from the Dallas area after cutting off his ankle monitor. The officer-involved shooting happened in the Clear Lake area this morning. Katira Winfrey live where the Gulf Coast Task Force tracked him down. Katira.
Guys, we're 6 hours in, and it now looks like the scene is finally starting to wind down. Just a few moments ago, officers started to take down the crime scene tape. But take a look at this window. Authorities say deputies shot through the window, hitting Johnson inside.
They just shot through a window of a business.
The shattered window tells part of the story of a Gulf Coast Task Force takedown. After months on the run, authorities say they tracked down 32-year-old Robert Johnson. He's accused of aggravated sexual assault of a 12-year-old girl near Dallas back in July.
Just remember what I told you, what his charges were.
That mustache.
So we can't have that.
Authorities say while working as an Uber driver, he picked up the girl from a medical facility. But instead of taking her home, he's accused of sexually assaulting her.
There is evil in this world, and there are predators.
T. Michael O'Connor with the U.S. Marshals says East Texas law enforcement tipped off the Gulf Coast Task Force about him being spotted in the area. They found him inside, sitting at a table at this fast food restaurant.
What if there had been a little 2-year-old toddler in there with
yes,
or just anybody, the workers, their safety, everyone's always
yes.
Officials say he didn't comply with their orders.
The individual then raised an object in
Wait a minute, didn't comply with their orders? Were they yelling orders at him from outside the building?
Direction of the officer that were inside, and the officers from the outside
their orders were combo.
Saw that this was a threat to those inside, and they fired upon the individual.
A canine brought to the scene completed the takedown. No officers or employees were hurt. One person was in the restroom during the
Yosemite Sam looking motherfucker.
Safely out of the building.
This is relatively doesn't happen all the time here, and that's really scary.
And authorities say Johnson's injuries are not life-threatening. It's not clear when he'll be extradited back to Collin County and what additional charges he may face once he gets there. Reporting live in Clear Lake, Katira Winfrey.
The way I understand it, he was not complying with their orders and he raised his hand, cell phone or something. That's the reason why they shot him, because cops are trigger happy. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Wild footage from inside a courtroom is happening in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You know I love these fucking courtroom footage scenes. The suspect there in handcuffs, accused of murdering a woman. That woman's uncle will appear in the video shortly.
It seems like an ordinary court hearing in room 402 of 2nd District Court. You can see Alexander Ortiz standing before a judge accused of murdering Elena Farfan. But then all of a sudden, chaos breaks out when police say Carlos Lucero, the victim's uncle, leaps over the courtroom gate and begins to punch Ortiz. Ortiz and the officer next to him fall to the ground, but then a second man joins the brawl. Police say that's Pete Yasazi, who is also attacking Ortiz. Police say Ortiz's father, Joe Ray, then joined the scrum to defend his son. The elder Ortiz punching Yasazi and Lucero. The melee goes on for about a minute, with more people rushing in.
Where are the fucking cops?
Court order handcuffing Lucero, Yasazi, and Ortiz's father, while Ortiz is taken out of the courtroom. Lucero and Yasazi were both charged with felonies, which
who beat him up?
include battery upon a peace officer and assault on a jail. According to the criminal complaint, Lucero explained why he did it, saying, "He killed my niece like a coward, and it was worth every moment." Meanwhile, Joe Bray Ortiz told officers he was trying to break up the fight.
Ooh! Oh, that's where the black eye came from. You want to see that one more time?
It seems like an ordinary court hearing in room 402 of 2nd District Court. You can see Alexander Ortiz standing before a judge accused of murdering Elena Farfan. But then all of a sudden, chaos breaks out when police say Carlos Lucero, the victim,
You say it's a pansy kick, but it apparently
begins to punch
black
Ortiz.
dude's eye.
And the officer next to him fall to the ground. But then a second man joins the brawl. Police say that's Pete Yasazi, who is also attacking Ortiz. Police say Ortiz's father, Joe Ray, then joined the scrum to defend his son. The elder Ortiz punching Yasazi.
No, I would have been into it if Ortiz had been like, yeah, my son deserves this. Pow, pow, pow.
Yasazi and Lucero. The melee goes on for about a minute, with more people rushing in. Eventually, deputies...
Somebody got hit with a chair. What was that woman doing with the chair there?
The melee goes on for about a minute, with more people rushing in. Eventually, deputies restore order, handcuffing Lucero, Yasazi, and Ortiz's father, while Ortiz is taken out of the courtroom. Lucero and Yasazi were both charged with felonies, which include battery upon a peace officer and assault on a jail. According to the criminal complaint, Lucero explained why he did it, saying, "He killed my niece like a coward."
Like a fucking coward.
Every moment. Meanwhile, Joe Bray Ortiz told officers he was trying to break up.
Boom, there's that kick. Wrestling night is actually Saturdays. We do classic wrestling on Saturdays. This week we're doing Japanese wrestling. I don't want to say best of Japanese wrestling, but we're going to do all Japanese wrestling. Because best of just kind of like, there's a lot. So back to classic wrestling on Saturdays. This Saturday, we're going to be watching the first 2 episodes of Season 2 of Saturday Night Live after classic wrestling. This is a T-. We will get to Lucha Libre. I promise you, we will get Lucha Libre soon. Probably should be doing Lucha Libre right now because that's what's big. Japanese wrestling is kind of dead right now. All right, here's the story I've been waiting for all night. A man in a Dalmatian onesie ran from the cops.
We've got a couple stories now that you might just have to laugh about.
That's right. So here's what we have in today's Florida man story. A Florida man dressed in a Dalmatian onesie is now held in his own cage after fleeing troopers in a vehicle, then running away with one.
Is now held in his own cage. Oh my God.
Florida man story. A Florida man dressed in a Dalmatian onesie is now held in his own cage after fleeing troopers in a vehicle, then running away with one handcuff on. Florida Highway Patrol says he was speeding and swerving all over the roads.
He was not being a good boy.
On lights and sirens, 36
Burrito.
Dylan Keith Devereaux took off, at one point even dropping off a passenger and then taking off again. They eventually caught up to him, according to the arrest report. Devereaux pushed the trooper and began to run towards his home with one handcuff on. Devereaux was eventually arrested and taken to jail. Not quite sure why he was wearing the Dalmatian.
With one handcuff on. I did a horrible job trying to sing. Like, nobody even knows what song I was trying to sing. It was so bad. What do you guys think? Is he snazzy? Would you wear that? Was he taping a kids show or something? Pasco County with a meth pipe. I think he was charged with possession of meth. I think that was one of the charges. Reckless driving, fleeing, assault of law enforcement, resisting with violence, possession of methamphetamine. I actually don't know what you mean by ironic, but maybe I want to find out. It's another one of those things that I might be oblivious to what you're trying to say, ma'am. Seems like a meth activity. Yeah, because, you know, when I do meth, I want to put on a Dalmatian onesie. Was this what the news reports were like in the movie Idiocracy? I need to go back and watch it. It's been like 20 years. Pictures or it didn't happen, Byronic, I guess. Is that how I make my move here? Oh, God. Lakeland police officers have been accused of turning their body cameras off. This is Florida. This is Florida, Lakeland, Florida. Keep it in Florida.
4 police officers are out at the Lakeland Police Department, but News Channel 8 has learned their law enforcement careers may not be over. This after they manipulated their body
of course
during a police chase. Polk County Bureau reporter Stacy DeSilva is live outside the police station tonight. And Stacy, did they resign or were they fired?
Well, Stacy, 3 officers resigned. 1 longtime sergeant retired in lieu of termination. But while they no longer work here,
bullshit,
they do still have their law enforcement certifications. 4 resignations for law enforcement officials
should be allowed to retire.
Streets in Lakeland. Documents obtained by News Channel 8 show in March of last year, officers Anton Jefferson, Jason McCain, Jim Simon, and Sergeant Mark Eby manipulated their body-worn cameras during a chase that did not meet the department's requirements for a pursuit. When the actions were discovered, Lakeland
during a chase, you say,
Taylor requested an investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and State Attorney's Office. In a letter to the chief from State Attorney Brian,
you know it, War Machine,
he determined the actions were not criminal, but caused him great concern, adding, quote, "The credibility of each officer becomes an issue." Haas wrote many cases involving the officers would have to be dismissed due to risks of damaging cross-examinations during trials. News Channel 8 has confirmed one of those dismissed cases was Antoine Glover.
Don't punch my dad in his face!
The man who police punched and tased during an arrest in December 2022. After a months-long grievance process, the Lakeland city manager approved an agreement on Wednesday, which allowed the cops to resign or retire in lieu of being fired.
I guess my reaction is, we told you so.
Pastor Clayton Cowart is with the Poor and Minority Justice Association. He says the allegations are believable, given the department's track record.
They shouldn't have been given that privilege to just simply resign. They should have been fired.
Now, in a statement, Chief Sam Taylor says it was disappointing to have decorated officers make poor choices with their careers, but we have to say that we are
maybe the travesty here is that you made officers that make poor choices decorated officers.
Told that the officers still have their law enforcement certifications, which go through the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which means they could work elsewhere. We have reached out to FDLE about the status of those and have not yet heard back. Reporting live in Lakeland, I'm Stacy DeSilva, 8 on your side.
Once again, I believe that cops should be held to a higher standard. If we were in a different political climate, I would once again propose my higher standard act. But it's not like Republicans are going to hold anybody to any kind of a standard. Mass deport the police. Georgia State Police are going to have to dismiss a ticket now that dash cam video caught them lying.
The Georgia State Patrol issues an apology after a Houston County man says he received a ticket he did not deserve. The video is making its way around social media, garnishing thousands of views. The driver is now speaking up about the incident. 41.
I'm not one to talk about, misspeaking, but I think she meant garnering, not garnishing. Because that word don't, yeah.
Thousands of views. The driver is now speaking up about the incident. 41 NBC's Fiona King spoke with him and has more.
I felt unsafe from the police.
On Wednesday, Lawrence Dixon had a typical day, dropping his son off in the morning and working as an Uber driver. But his afternoon was suddenly interrupted by the sounds of police sirens.
outside of the garage. Right now, you have space with all your tools protecting in the garage, on the job site, and everywhere in between.
Pull down there in establishment. Pull down there.
I had a passenger with me. I was using my GPS to get to the location that I was going to. Never once had my phone in my hand.
Dixon was pulled over at Watson Boulevard and Houston Road in Houston County. Dixon mentioned his phone was on his phone mount during the entire ride. His dash cam also recorded all angles of his Uber ride. On Wednesday, there was heightened police presence due to the Thunder Task Force operation, where
Thunder Task Force
Police Department and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety stopped drivers at undisclosed checkpoints. Most of their focus was on those speeding, driving under the influence, or not wearing seatbelts.
I just thought to myself, like, hey, I'm under compliance. You know, I have my license, I have my insurance, work hard for these things. I'm like, as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, I don't feel like I should be pulled over. And as soon as I said that or thought that, that's when I got pulled over.
His initial thoughts once he realized
I'm just harassing people.
Over.
It's unbelievable. Like, I knew he must be trying to stop somebody else other than me. We were at the red light, and we were the
I'd say barbershop.
So
it could be tattoo
I
shop.
knew we weren't speeding. I knew I didn't commit any crimes, so it was unbelievable.
Dixon expressed various emotions about the incident, but mostly he says he felt unsafe.
As long as they have the operation going on, even though I know I'm in compliance, of course, I felt like that was going to be a reoccurring thing. They were pulling over multiple cars, one after another, and they lied.
He believes the Georgia State Patrol troopers should face disciplinary action.
Very aggressive, and you don't feel like you could really approach them or talk to them. You know, he was shut down right away.
What'd you get a ticket for?
Didn't take time to listen.
Dixon says he received a phone call Wednesday night from the Georgia Department of Public Safety apologizing for the incident. The representative told Dixon he'd seen the video online and would be tossing out the tickets. I also reached out to the Georgia Department of Public Safety to confirm what had happened. They released a statement saying, "When a matter regarding one of our troopers is brought to our attention, we take it seriously." Mr. Dixon was contacted directly yesterday by Georgia State Patrol personnel. After further investigation into the incident, the charge against Mr. Dixon was dismissed. Dixon says he had prepared for a situation like this.
Protect yourself as much as possible. Always have license, have your insurance, have your documents together, and also have dash cam footage of what's going on, because you never know.
In Warner Robins, Fiona King, 41, NBC News.
Yeah, that's how a lot of these small municipalities make up their budget deficits from not taxing rich people. They harass citizens and extort them. Back to Florida. A mom and her boyfriend were arrested. We've got body camera footage.
I made contact with the child. She's been crying in the car. Unknown of where her parent is at this time.
Actually, clinically, it's been kind of quiet on the Florida front for a couple months. It's surprising that, you know, it just all kind of came today.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you the owner of this vehicle?
I am the owner of the vehicle, but I'm not her mother.
Okay.
What?
I just grabbed the keys from her and check on her.
Check on who?
Her.
Okay.
What's your name? My name is Josh. I'm her boyfriend, the mother of this child.
Okay. All right, what's her name? No.
Christina, she's inside.
She's still partying.
Oh, hello. Sitting at the bar with an alcoholic. Okay. What's going on, Christina? Christina, come stay with me.
Did everybody have the same thought that I did?
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Or am I just a perv?
Got an idea why we're here.
Yeah.
She's fine. You can stay with me.
So I asked how long they've been here. She said, I got here at 7. They were here before that.
I was not here before that. I literally did not get back before.
What time did she get here?
Like an hour.
Like an hour.
I am a perv, yeah.
Roughly around 8 to around about 7:30.
Yes, and I told her multiple times to go in the car and go to my house.
Did she have any drinks while she was in there?
The
Yes.
very last minute, I
The very
think
last
yes.
minute. Okay.
Right before I came out here.
At any point did she say she has a kid in the car?
She told me yes, she did.
She told you yes. When was that?
This is when I came out here to check her.
Cortana, what's going on? I mean, it's January
cannot even just believe
in Florida. If anything, it's cold.
I can.
I
brought her to a bar.
Yeah, and you know what?
And you sat inside.
And I also asked you to leave how many times?
I told you to
Right, but you
I
know,
told you not to come here.
They're both sauced.
I said go home.
you know what, Josh?
I said go to the house.
Your
Go
charges
to
are going to
my
get
house.
dismissed, but
I
mine
will
aren't.
meet you there.
Cool, your charges are going to get dismissed and mine aren't.
Well, guess what? I still gotta deal with this. And guess what?
Too, honey. Me too.
You're both spending the night in the pokey.
Bonded you out, but now I'm in handcuffs with you in this stupid ass pig car.
Pig car, indeed.
Can you just, like, calm down for just...
No, because I haven't done wrong. I haven't done nothing wrong.
know, but it's not...
That's why I'm flipping out. I'm flipping out because I haven't done wrong. I didn't do nothing wrong. I was minding my own business. Here, I told you I'll beat you to the house. Now I'm handcuffs. Now I'm dealing with and now I gotta deal with my face in a public forum with child neglectry and all over it tomorrow. And I gotta deal with that bull.
Damn.
Until it gets washed away. I gotta pay to get this rinsed off my record.
Damn. What a rant. This story is calling them parents.
A couple in Volusia County is in jail right now, accused of ditching their toddler to go out drinking.
The message this afternoon from police: do better. Watch 2 Volusia County reporter Pamela Combe live in Daytona Beach with the mom and dad.
Oh yeah, cops.
To judge. Pam, police say they left their 2-year-old alone for quite a while.
Yeah, that's what police say, Summer Jesse, that they left the 2-year-old alone in the car for 2 hours while they allegedly went inside a bar to drink. They were eventually arrested on child neglect charges, and today they appeared before a judge right here at the Volusia County Branch Jail.
It was at this Edgewater bar right off Ridgewood Avenue.
Seems like a dive bar.
Arrested Tuesday night.
Those are the best.
The two are facing charges after police say they left a 2-year-old inside an unlocked car for hours.
Parents.
39-year-old Joshua
Dougie, that's a good one.
For a judge on Wednesday.
Ms. Vitucci, you're here on a charge of neglect of a child.
In a separate hearing just minutes apart, 35-year-old Christina Vitucci joined from inside the jail via Zoom. The public defender appointed to them pled their case.
Your Honor, no prior violent convictions and no failures to appear within 2 years.
The judge decided to keep both of them in jail on a $5,000 bond. This comes after police responded to the Edgewater area after a witness reported screaming coming from a blue Honda SUV. When officers arrived and opened the car door, the 2-year-old appeared to have been crying for some time as there was dry mucus and tears on the child's face. The arrest affidavit also says the child was wearing thin clothing not suitable for the weather and was cold.
Yeah, fuck both of these.
I'm setting bond at $5,000. I'm not going to release you on your own recognizance.
Police say the mom was drunk when they made contact with her. The pair was arrested on a felony child neglect charge.
And we did reach out to Edgewater PD for an update on the child's condition and custody.
Charge them both.
We are waiting to hear back. According to the arrest affidavit, police did notify DCF of the incident. Covering Volusia County Live, I'm Pamela Combe.
Team Hunters, I got a buttload of FTAs. That's how my license got suspended. I didn't know that I had a failure to appear license suspended. That's how I got arrested for driving on a suspended license. It was one of those things. A suspect taunted police. This actually happened in the UK. I didn't know this was a British story. A suspect taunted police by commenting, "Hey guys," on a police department's Facebook post about her being wanted. The 22-year-old woman was arrested later at a home after she was found hiding in one of the rooms under a pile of toys. She was arrested on suspicion of failing to appear in court, speaking of FTAs, for 3 counts of assault on an emergency worker, drug offenses, and theft. She was also arrested on suspicion of assaulting a police officer. Based. This was her comment, apparently. "Hey, guys." The 22-year-old woman, that's a picture of her found in the toys. "Hey, you guys." I think she seems cool. I guess she was covering her face there. Still attempting to hide after they've already found her. Also, we're going to have to cover that Lucy Leadbelly or whatever the fuck. So apparently she didn't murder all those kids. There was actually no kids that got murdered. Like fucking, what the fuck is going on in the UK? We'll have to revisit that story because we did her sentencing about a year ago, I think. But now an investigation has found that like there weren't actually any babies that died. And she's been locked away. Like we're gonna have to cover this. I've been putting it on. I don't know, Avalon. I've just seen the headlines. Until I put it on the list to do on the show, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I haven't had time to do that story. People in California have been on edge following the fires that spread all throughout January. Neighbors allegedly chased down an arsonist.
We have new video here showing us the moments a group of neighbors chased down a man they say was starting a fire along Woolsey Canyon Road north of Chatsworth. These images captured on dash cam video. A group of neighbors called 911 and then chased this man, eventually pinning him on the ground until LA County Sheriff's deputies could get there. Fire crews were able to put out the small brush fire. Deputies say the 41-year-old man is now being held on suspicion of felony arson and will appear before a judge later this week.
Well, but now I'm also, that first person they got that they called an arsonist, I think he was just Mexican smoking pot. And they were suspicious of him being in the neighborhood. Like even, was it Laura Ingraham had to correct one of their guests? Chatsworth looked dry as hell. Fuck. Could have been a homeless dude just trying to stay warm, or it could have actually been an arsonist. Speaking of fire, I'm sure we're going to get plenty of fire from this oxygen tank that exploded inside of a garbage truck. Apparently, you're not supposed to dispose of a oxygen tank in your garbage. Oh God, he's crushing it right now. Oh, stand back, guys. Oh, fuck. God, I hope nobody was injured. That got him right in the fucking face. Ponder monkey. No, but the caller from last night came back and tried to make it seem like he'd won. He had to go get a fucking fire extinguisher. Insane footage. This is Whitehall, Ohio. Wow. Oh, it didn't take me to the story. I guess they're okay. Of course it was Ohio. We had a couple different stories in Ohio tonight. Local waste employees narrowly avoided a dangerous situation on Wednesday when an oxygen tank exploded in the back of a sanitation truck. The tank was discovered illegally placed in a garbage can in the 4000 block. Yeah, apparently both of the employees apparently are safe.
It's a pretty wild video out of Whitehall showing the moments a neighborhood is rocked. That is scary. Now that blast coming from a garbage truck, 2 trash collectors were hurt tonight. Steve Levine tells us how this all could have been prevented.
These 2 private sanitation workers had their day end with a bang Wednesday after a sudden explosion inside their truck in this Whitehall neighborhood.
I mean, it sounded like a bomb went off. It was chaos for a minute. It was trash everywhere.
Anything you'd find in a trash bag basically just blew up and sprayed everywhere.
This is body camera video showing Whitehall police arriving to find the aftermath.
Oh, I bet it stunk.
Someone who tossed an oxygen tank in the trash on Elburn Avenue.
Definitely.
Oh, that trash is ruined.
Dangerous.
The trash collectors employed by Local Waste Services, walking away with just scratches.
Super fortunate. A couple inches and we're talking, serious injury or fatality.
Pieces of trash still scattered in the street and front lawns. Police say the explosion so loud, it set off Whitehall's gunshot detection system. Officers rushing to the neighborhood, believing someone may have been shot.
Everybody went to that call because we weren't really sure what had happened at that point.
I thought it was gunshots personally.
Moments after the explosion, just watch as the back of the truck catches fire and the crew springs into action to put out the flames. The waste
good work, guys. These guys deserve a raise.
And do not throw anything in the trash that's compressed, pressurized, or hazardous.
Tank, container of any sorts, aerosol cans. I mean, even household cleaning items, such as bleach or other solvents can be explosive. Batteries.
A simple check, neighbors say, that would have prevented a dangerous explosion right in their front yards. On your side, Steve.
I mean, I wonder if it was like a home health nurse or somebody who wasn't experienced. A family member, like maybe somebody had passed away and they had an oxygen tank and a family member cleaned out their house and didn't know better. That would be I don't assume malice where ignorance will suffice, right? I would say somebody just didn't fucking know. Speaking of explosions, this is the Kilauea volcano erupting in Hawaii. This was live just like an hour ago. I thought we were going to check in with it live, but they did end the stream. So I guess it's done erupting. It's about 2 hours of video. The AP was watching the volcano erupt. That's what the back of that garbage truck looked like for a little while. Oh, it's wild just to see the lava splash up there. I'm mesmerized. No wonder I loved lava lamps so much. Julie, I would assume that, you know, with Hawaii, I assume they've not got anything close to this one. I don't even know which island this is on. Oh, so this is on the Big Island. Grew to more than 250 feet high on Monday night. Yeah, areas like this are usually, you know, away from towns. They learn to build the towns far from the volcano. But I mean, like in Iceland, we saw the lava flowing. They had to build a berm and everything to reroute it. Yeah, this is Kilauea. I'm fucking it up, aren't I? And this was live just like a couple hours ago. So if you would like to see more footage of the volcano erupting, you can watch the whole thing there. And then as a special treat for everybody, it's been a rough night. They got new puppies on the puppy bus.
Thank you for riding with Mo Mountain Mutts. Do you guys want to see a dog learn all my pack walk cues and make his way into our pack and become the next Mo Mountain Mutt? Then stay tuned for Knight's acclimation process. We've got Knight here.
Knight!
He's just sniffing the bus. He's met Echo before. Now he's met Daishu.
I guess it's better than sniffing the butt. Oh, it's only she recorded it in 360.
Mini bus ride just to get used to the bus and a couple friends. And then I'm going to take him on a leash walk. We're going to work on some loose leash skills. He's pretty pulley. And I'll start incorporating my pack walk cues. I'm going to go downtown where it's nice and distracting. And we're
downtown.
I'm just going to walk back and forth for a second because he's pretty pulley and he doesn't really understand to stay with you. So once he goes in front of me, I'm not going to continue walking. Quick, pull back. I'm stopping him right when he gets to the front of my toes. I'll turn around and I'll come back.
I've never seen them train a puppy, but all of the puppies they have on the bus are all very well trained.
Good boy or good night. Good night.
Good
His
night.
name is Night. Whoa. So the first couple corrections, I don't really say anything. As I start to apply the leash pressure.
Oh, it's in Alaska.
And then follow through. So
I don't even think it's one of the big towns in Alaska.
Leash pressure. If he stops, I'm gonna praise him. So I'm just gonna do.
If there is a big, it's not Anchorage or Juneau.
All right, I went from that telephone pole to this telephone pole, and then I gave him a break. When you're teaching a new dog, you don't need to go very far. I wouldn't expect him to walk loose leash for like 30 minutes when they're learning. So just as simple as from that telephone pole to this telephone pole, and then he got a break.
They're in Skagway, Alaska. Skagway, Alaska. Like, I'd never even fucking heard of it.
And he's already finding that spot. He's really smart. It's not going to take him long at all. What a good boy. That's a good boy. He's got it. He's so smart. All right, we're gonna go to this telephone pole and I'm gonna give him a break. Good boy.
Did you get a treat?
Whoa, whoa. And I'm gonna do some speed changes. Easy.
Yeah, when they take the whole pack out, it's wild. It's wild watching them. Like, they're so well behaved.
I'm just gonna play these games of let's go, whoa, whoa, speed changes.
Cause she'll take the whole pack up on the hill.
I'm gonna use
or like a walk on the trails.
Once he's got this down, I'll add in more dogs.
And then she'll let them like go and roam, and then they'll all come back on her command.
Good boy. Let's go. Found a parking lot, so it's not too distracting. There's no grass to be sniffing besides right close. So I'm just gonna do some irregular walking so you can kind of see the strange patterns that I do when I'm working with a new dog. Let's go. Very good.
Knight's adorable. I bet he wants to play in that puddle.
I give these subtle little pops when I turn like this. If he doesn't come with me, just a couple little pressure. So we're using whoa, whoa, let's go, easy, and break. Good boy. And when I've worked, you're a good boy. He's super happy to work.
He's the best boy.
Super wiggly. Once I get some movement going for a while, then I'll start doing sit stay. I don't want to start with sit stay when we just started the walk. It's just not as successful. So in the middle of the walk, I'll start practicing my sit stay break. Let's go, come on. So I cue this way, and he came with me, so I said, good boy. If he didn't, then I would have applied some leash pressure. Break. Take a sniff. Okay, let's go.
Take a sniff.
Good boy. He just has to learn to follow me. That's kind of the key to off-leash pack walk, is just pay attention to where I'm going, move when I move, stop.
If you're watching on Twitch, you're heading over to our good friend Igloo.
The dog understanding what we should be doing. Come on.
I might be daddy to some of you. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the